Hey, this is Livingston,
And this is Taylor.
and welcome to another Bros on the Phone podcast. Got a few topics to talk about today. One of them, the first of them, is going to be the movie draft that we did in episode 4, and it looks like I won, or am winning currently.
Well,
But
you are winning so far because I have 0 still because none of my movies are out yet.
right,
Uh, but I thought it'd be interesting. Before we go, obviously you had Black Panther. It was, what, 201 million?
$201 million, and it was speculated to do like maybe 135, 45, and nobody predicted this.
And again, just so you know, we are counting just like the 3-day,
Yeah,
not the 4-day
just the
for these
3-day.
movies. So there's a couple other movies in our list that I think come out on holiday weekends. But we're only going to count Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So for that, Black Panther was just over 201.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd go over our 8 picks again. And I could start from number 8, I guess. I should have wrote down the release date for some of these, and I'm going to have to do that when I add to my list. But I have number 8, A Wrinkle in Time. Number 7, Venom. Number 6, Aquaman. Number that doesn't come out until December, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5, Mary Poppins Returns. Number 4, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 3, Ready Player One. 2, Deadpool 2, and 1, Avengers: Infinity War.
Well, I actually have the dates these are coming out. I just opened it up and I went, oh, I did put them there. Yeah, I have Black Panther just came out 2/16. Rampage is coming out 4/20, April 20th, and then I have Solo, a Star Wars movie, coming out in May 25th. The Incredibles 2, June 2000 this year, June of the 15th of June. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom comes out a week later. Then I have Fantastic Beasts 2 coming out in November. Wreck-It Ralph, the internet, breaks the internet, comes out Thanksgiving Day weekend. And then Mortal Engines comes out the 14th of December.
Yeah. So obviously, as these movies come out, we'll keep you updated. But so far, Livingston is winning 201 million to 0, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you'll have A Wrinkle in Time coming out in the next couple of weeks, so you'll be on the board pretty soon.
What day does that one come out?
The 9th.
The 9th, March 9th.
And then you got Ready Player One 20 days later.
Okay. So maybe I'll be ahead by the end of March.
Maybe. I don't know if these
But,
two movies
but maybe not. I mean, that's...
I don't. Yeah, that's going to be a really Ready Player One and A Wrinkle in Time. So far, A Wrinkle in Time, I don't see it doing like over $100 million. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
In Black Panther, I didn't see it doing over 200 million, but
yeah,
see.
that's true. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. It's going to be
In Ready
interesting.
Player One, I don't know. I mean, that could do awesome numbers, or it could do just okay. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I think if A Wrinkle in Time does like 70 to 80 million, I think I'll consider that a success.
Yeah.
In terms of, at least in terms of this contest. But we'll see what happens. If it does 150, great. That'd be awesome.
And then I got Rampage coming out in April, and I'm very curious what that's going to do just because of what Jumanji is doing currently.
Yeah.
It came out back in beginning of December, and it's now almost the end of February, and it's currently still doing like $10 million a weekend.
Yeah.
Almost hitting.
It's got staying power.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if Rampage will have the same kind of effect, and plus it's a video game movie, so I'm curious if it's going to be, a good video game movie for once.
Did you ever play those old Rampage games?
Yeah, I did. I remember I was talking about it with my sister the other day after we watched the preview. I used to go to the roller skating rink, and they'd have the arcade cabinet that you'd go and play.
I had it for the N64, the Rampage World Tour, but I remember going to I forget what it's called, one of those little arcade places. But they also had like not go-karts, like bumper cars, and they had batting cages. I forget what the place is called now.
They hardly have those places anymore. I mean, almost like a Dave and Buster's, but
it's still there.
Yeah.
No, the batting cage place is still there. I cannot remember what it's called though. But they had Rampage Universal Tour, I think it was.
Yeah, I just played the original one. I didn't ever play any of the things that came after it.
Yeah, I mean the movie doesn't really look anything like the game, to be honest.
No.
Because the game you were one of the 3 monsters, and the game story was that like these 3 random people got turned into monsters that happened to be a gorilla and then a lizard and a wolf. It's not what they're going with the movie, so we'll see what happens.
I saw the preview recently, and they had they have like maybe 20 seconds of the monsters kind of just destroying buildings, like they're kind of trying to do what the game did, but
Yeah.
they won't have much of it.
Just climb up buildings and start punching it.
Yeah.
And then, when someone pokes their head out, you grab them and eat them. Stuff like that. It's always kind of funny. I'm sure they're not going to do that in the movie because it's going to be PG-13 and it'll be much more tame than that.
Was it a lizard in the original one?
There was, yeah. It was Ralph, Lizzie, and I forget what the wolf man thing was called.
Because in the preview he says, "Oh, of course, it's a crocodile," and the lizard is a crocodile.
Yeah, well, I guess they kind of changed that, but it was like a lizard.
Yeah, I just remember the I guess the gorilla. I mean, I don't really remember much else of the game other than the fact that you had to destroy buildings. I liked the game, but
yeah, it's been a long time.
It's one of those like it went into the back of my memory, and then when this movie came, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what that game was called.
Well, I'm looking it up right now. It was George was the monkey, Lizzie was the lizard, and then Ralph, that was the werewolf.
Okay. So when did you go see Black Panther?
I saw it yesterday afternoon, actually.
Yeah, I went sometime midday.
I couldn't go over the weekend because I didn't want to support the contest for you. So I had to wait till after that.
I didn't support myself either. So
yeah, no, I just wasn't able to make it this weekend. Yeah, well, what did you think of it overall?
Overall, I thought it was a good Marvel movie. I don't think it was the best. There's a lot of people saying that it's the best Marvel movie, but I would say it's in my top 5.
Yeah.
To me,
it's the 18th film in the MCU, which is pretty crazy. They've got this far,
and it's still working, and the formula still works for Marvel, and I mean, it's great for them for sure.
And before we continue this, let's just assume that you've watched the movie before you listen to this podcast, because we're probably going to just spoil a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it yet, turn it off, go see it, then come back and listen to it.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, I'd be kind of surprised anyways, and you deserve to have it spoiled for you if you're going to keep listening. So.
A lot of people say this is possibly the best, and in my opinion, I still think that The Winter Soldier is probably the best one-off for a superhero film. I don't know, it's hard for that to be topped. And then I like Civil War, and Avengers is probably in my top 3 when it comes to Marvel, but
the first Avengers.
Yeah. And then maybe
I guess I haven't really thought about ranking them.
Yeah, I haven't either. I just started. I mean, Iron Man's probably in the top 5, and then maybe Black Panther just kind of comes in at the very last part of that countdown for me. But yeah, I mean, overall though, it was a good movie, and that's a really good rank to be in if you're in my top 5 out of the 18 Marvel movies that make up the cinematic universe. So
yeah, there's a lot that I liked about it. I liked we discussed this earlier, but they kind of Snopes Andy Serkis again.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think was funny, but I think it's almost better in this way. And like his character, he was going to die, but I mean, I like the villains in this movie, and it was different than a lot of the MCU villains. A lot of like criticism that MCU gets is that their villains are kind of cookie cutter. Like, I mean, like if you watch Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, it's like, there wasn't really much there, to be honest. Like he was just kind of the villain. It was more about the heroes and stuff, but this villain actually had, real motivations and like seemed like a real person, I guess. Mm-hmm. It reminded me of more of like the dynamic between like the X-Men with Professor X and Magneto, kind of like
probably not as close as that relationship with Xavier and Magneto, but still.
No, not the relationship.
It's more like personal.
Their motivations, like they both kind of have some of the same ideas. Like they both obviously think they're doing the right thing, mm-hmm. but they have wildly different methods, I guess, to do that. So I think that was interesting. And then it just, like, here's more spoilers, I guess, but like the ending, the way he killed Killmonger, or the way he died, I guess, when he's looking over the city, I thought that was pretty good. I think, I'm trying to, like, it's just, I like how Marvel is just, like, every single one of their movies, like, seems like they fit together, but they're all so incredibly unique. They really, it really does feel like they give the artist, the director or the writer, whatever, like a lot more creative freedom than other studios who make superhero movies, maybe.
But I think there's a very good collaboration there because they all seem to fit into the universe that Feige created, and it all seems to flow fairly well. And I also like the very beginning of that of the Black Panther when they're kind of discussing the history of it and how it kind of came about.
Oh, like the opening credit, not the opening.
Right before
animated.
the credits. And they were kind of discussing and how I don't know exactly what was like they were made out of sand or some kind of I don't know. It was like it wasn't real. It wasn't like real people. They were doing it like they do in certain stories where like there's cave paintings and they start talking about the cave paintings kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was done differently, where it was almost like models, almost like the end of Age of Ultron, where you see them like standing on that at the very end, and you see them together and fighting and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it wasn't real. It was like all statues.
So what were some of your favorite parts in Black Panther? The opening?
Yeah, the opening was pretty cool. I like that shootout battle with, what's his name, Claw? Ulysses Claw. And I thought that was pretty great. I like how they did Wakanda. I mean, the way they kind of kept the African vibe and kind of melded it into the modern world.
Almost like a future world.
Yeah, almost like future world, but yeah, it's like maybe 50 years advanced compared to what you see in the modern day.
Right.
But they still had like African touches of the decor and whatnot. It was pretty cool how they did that.
Yeah, no, I really like that. The style of the the wardrobe and everything was obviously very well planned out, and like just the design of the buildings and everything too.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying about the Academy Award, is this going to be nominated for Academy Award? If anything, it should be nominated for just costumes. I mean,
for costumes, definitely.
Costume was great, and then of course the effects will probably be nominated. But yeah, I mean, overall it was a really tight, well directed film. Coogler did a good job.
And then I guess one last thing is I really liked the very last, the first post-credits scene, I guess. Or I guess it wasn't quite post-credits, but like mid-credits, where he's at the UN or whatever. Like that was just, it was obviously such a reference to the first Iron Man, but like it was so perfect. Like it worked without coming off as like, oh, you're just trying to do the same thing. But like, it feels like it's tying the MCU together really well, the way they kind of did it. And a lot of, and another thing, like the very beginning when it shows Oakland in '92, a lot of MCU films recently have been doing that kind of thing. It feels like where they'll show like
something at the very beginning. Yeah.
They'll start from something in the past. Ant-Man did that. I think Guardians 2 did that. I think what was the other one? I think Iron Man 3 was it that did that?
Yeah, they New Year's Eve party.
Yeah. To kind of like say it really fills in the world as if like stuff has happened in the past as well.
Yeah,
that's going to tie into what's going on in the future, and I like that kind of story technique as well.
Yeah, you said Civil War, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they did
that's
it in Civil
War. That did it. Yeah, that's right. With oh man,
well, Tony Stark's parents, and it shows
shows
what happened, like the conversation they had before they left for wherever they were going. But it was unique how they did it in that movie. It was all like a computer generated thing, and it was just from his memory. I thought that was pretty neat how they did that.
Yeah.
I also liked Martin Freeman in this. He was just kind of like the sidekick to what was going on and everything. He was basically us in that situation, like, whoa, this is Wakanda?
Yeah, right.
But I thought that was pretty neat. And of course, the very last end credit scene, the appearance of the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes.
And I mean, I'm not sure what other people think about it necessarily, but I don't think he would have fit in this movie all that well. It would have been kind of random, and obviously he's in such a the character has got to be in such like a crazy place emotionally and mentally that he just wouldn't really be that much help, to be honest. At least not yet.
Well, he was mentioned at least. I mean, it's like we're helping another white guy. I mean, they literally say that in that one part, and I guess they don't have too many people from the outside world come in, but. I'm really curious what they're going to do now with Wakanda and having it being open to the world, and is this going to affect the universe going forward? Are we going to start seeing weapons from Wakanda in other people's hands? Are we going to start seeing technologies that we haven't seen until now? But I'd be curious to see what happens, because now we'll probably see some of that in the new Avengers, Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War. Well, I think Infinity War is going to change up a lot. Like, I mean, now we're kind of speculating on the future, I guess, but they're going to probably get rid of a couple characters. Like, some people are going to die. Maybe it'll be Iron Man. Maybe it'll be Captain America, and Bucky will become Captain America or something. I don't know, but I think it's going to be something like that where you'll have some of these newer characters like Black Panther or Ant-Man, and they're going to kind of start to take control of it. Spider-Man, maybe.
Yeah, and what's Miss Marvel? She'll be a part of it, possibly, and then
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Captain Marvel, not Miss Marvel, but there is a Miss Marvel. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because this is kind of like the beginning of the end for the MCU as we know it.
Yeah.
And
Before they do their kind of realistically, it's kind of more of a soft reboot in a way.
Right.
What they'll do,
but with
still the
with
same
the
universe.
Fantastic Four coming into the fold and possibly X-Men coming in as well, I mean, I'd be curious to see how they're going to implement those things, because at some point they're going to possibly put in the X-Men. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
But and we talked about this before. I said when we kind of speculated and kind of threw out what we wish to see, and I would like to see them maybe not throw away the X-Men universe, but have it to where they're like some kind of alternate universe in a way.
Yeah.
And maybe Fantastic Four opens up a wormhole, and then you have the X, because there's stories that I still want to see. I still want to see like X-23, that little girl who played her in Logan.
Yeah.
But then you have to go back and go, should they do that? Because the way Hugh Jackman was selling it, it was like an alternate timeline to the actual X-Men story. Like Logan was something different, like a one-off almost. Like what if?
I mean, the X-Men continuity is so
it's all over
up.
the place. More than likely they're just going to reboot it and do something completely different.
Yeah. But then somehow Deadpool still survives, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's the one guy like, did something change?
Yeah, right. I feel different.
Yeah. So that very interesting to see what's going to happen the next few years with that.
So we got a couple of news things that I want to talk about for this week. Just not a lot of it's not. There wasn't a whole lot that happened this week, I guess, for news.
No.
But there's a couple of things that I thought were worth mentioning. The first is that the director of the Paddington movies, Paul King, is directing the Pinocchio for Disney. So that'll be interesting. They've obviously been going through their animated movies and turning them into live action, which I think is great and pretty unique.
Did you ever see?
And they turned out
actually
really
made
well.
a live action Pinocchio. I don't know if it was Disney, but it was had Jonathan Taylor Thomas. You ever see that one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it came out.
I don't know.
Actually, I'm sitting here trying to go through it. It came out, I think, like in not 2006, 1996, 97, something along those lines. But it was okay when it came out. I don't know if I'm excited to see another Pinocchio movie, but you never know. If it's done by Disney, it's probably going to be done right.
Well, their new live action ones feel like they're remakes. They're remakes of the animated movies. They're not like retelling of the stories. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like the Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, the upcoming Lion King. Like they're not they're not like based on the original idea or whatever. They're based on the movie, the original animated movie, which I think is more interesting. Like you have James Earl Jones coming back for The Lion King, which I think has to be that way. I couldn't
kind of sad that they
else,
didn't have Jeremy Irons coming back as Scar.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting. But I forget who they have now. But yeah, that was actually some news this coming week too. The Lion King, they were discussing, they're going to have the four original songs going to be in it from the animated film. And they were talking about not having Scar's song. I'm trying to remember the name of that song that he sung. Shoot, I can't remember. I can't think of it.
I don't remember either. I was trying to get it to play in my head or something for a second there.
Be Prepared.
That's right.
That's what it's called. I mean, I can kind of see that. Maybe in the live action thing, they don't want the bad guy singing into the song, so it might take away from him being bad. All of a sudden the bad guy breaks into the song. But of course, they're going to need. They're going to have Circle of Life. I'm sure that's got to be the one they're going to have in. And then I'm sure they'll probably have a little bit of Hakuna Matata, and they'll probably have Can You Feel the Love Tonight.
They are having Elton John sing the song again.
Oh, is he?
He is coming back for that. I thought I read that somewhere. Now I have to look that up too.
If they do it, I hope they do it like they did with the Jungle Book, where it's not like in your face, talking up, singing the whole entire song. I like what they did in the Jungle. It's like they were kind of remixing it and doing it a certain way.
He's going to sing with Beyonce. I think it's going to be Can You Feel the Love Tonight, but I'm really honestly not sure. It says he's confirmed he's working on a Lion King song for. Oh, maybe he's singing. He's writing the song. Maybe I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I do hope he sings in it as well.
Yeah.
but I guess we'll find out. But that'll be. I mean, I trust Disney because their other movies have been good so far with that type of stuff. So I think it'll be good no matter what.
I think they had like a bumpy start when they started because Maleficent was okay, and Cinderella. Actually, I think Cinderella was probably the first one that actually did well to the point where it's like they kept going.
Yeah.
And they haven't made a bad one since. I'm not saying Maleficent was bad, but it wasn't as good as what's coming out so far. Like Beauty and the Beast was great, Jungle Book was great. So hopefully they stay on this line.
Hopefully. Another quick piece of news that I want to mention is that Danny Boyle is in talks to do Bond number 25 with Daniel Craig. Danny Boyle is one of my favorite directors, and I think it'd be awesome if he could do a Bond movie. I mean, every single movie that he's done has been like so wildly different, like in terms of genre and everything. Yeah. Like, I mean, you go from like 28 Days Later to 127 Hours to Slumdog Millionaire to Sunshine. Like, what do these movies really have in common? He's able to do like so many different genres and do it all well. He would definitely do a good Bond movie. I'm pretty confident with that. I really hope it does
I'm looking
happen.
at stuff right now. He did The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was okay. It's a very long.
Sunshine is one
the
of my
dialogue
movies.
is great. What is
Sunshine. It? And I mean, if you
Sunshine.
just like if you haven't seen Sunshine, I would definitely encourage you to. Like, just if you read the plot, it sounds like a 90s, TV movie, almost like, oh, they have to go travel in a spaceship to go to the sun to nuke it to restart it. Like, it sounds cheesy when you just say it that way, in a way, but like it's so much more than that, and it has such a good soundtrack as well. But it's really more of a psychological thriller. I love that movie. Yeah, I'm gonna watch the movie.
And people used the hell out of the trailer, music for that, the score. I would hear that all the time in trailers. Yeah. It's a great score.
Yeah. So
I don't know who did the score for that.
It was. Oh man, I forgot again. John's. It was one of the Johns. Let me look those up.
I remember we had somebody in school that listened to that score all the time. John Murphy.
I couldn't remember. I really like that. I really did like that soundtrack. I don't know if I listened to it all the time, but I do have the movie on Blu-ray.
I don't think he's done a lot, though. He's only done Sunshine, 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later. But I don't see much more after that. I mean, let me see his IMDb page. But I guess he did Turtles, the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles soundtrack, which I don't really remember too much. Kick-Ass. Mm-hmm. But lately he hasn't done a whole lot. He's done like some shorts and some documentaries, but he hasn't done a feature film since Kick-Ass 8 years ago.
Yeah, no, I think he's good. At least he did good for that one. But Danny Boyle doing next Bond movie, I really hope it happens. But we'll see. It's not confirmed yet, but I hope it. I'm hoping it does get confirmed soon.
I remember they were talking with Christopher Nolan to possibly do a Bond film, and he's like, I don't want to do it. I think he just wants to do his own stuff. But that would be interesting to see if Christopher Nolan.
That would be interesting. Well, I think this is going to be the last one with Daniel Craig, almost certainly.
Probably.
Number 5, and end on a high note. Hopefully, I like Spectre, but it wasn't as good as Skyfall.
It's like they jumps. Like Casino Royale is great, and then you get to Quantum of Solace. It's not as good as the last one, and then of course Skyfall was better than Quantum of Solace. Probably the best one out of the Daniel Craig movies so far. And then Spectre, which was better than Quantum, I thought.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't.
I liked Spectre. I just didn't think it was as good as Skyfall. I mean,
I think that was probably the most Bond that Daniel Craig has been when it comes to looking at how Bond is with, having a Q and having the gadgets and whatnot. So it's like it's getting more and more into that realm, how we used to see Bond.
Yeah.
Now you have an M and you have that padded door he walks into to get a job offer. Like what's the job? What are we doing? Who am I killing? But so it'd be interesting to see what Danny Boyle does with that. And then I guess they're making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Oh yeah, well that's been announced for a while, but they just announced their release date, November 15th, 2019. At the same time, they're actually making a Mario movie, Super Mario Brothers, a different studio, obviously. But I think Paramount's doing Sonic, and then the one that's doing Mario is it Illumination Studio that did Despicable Me. They're doing Super Mario Brothers. So
I guess Sonic is supposed to be a mix between live action and CG.
Yeah,
from what I was reading, and I don't know.
See what happens. I'm
hoping it's not like a Smurf thing or something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what. I don't know. I grew up playing, obviously. I had a Sega Genesis growing up, so I love Sonic the Hedgehog. Um, the old 2D games are better than the 3D ones because I tried to play some of those later on. I was gonna say more recently, but it was really probably 2002 that I played like the 3D Sonic the Hedgehog games, and they're all right, but they do have like live action characters. Some of them is just kind of like it's a little off-putting to me, to be honest. Like, why? Let's keep it with cartoon-looking characters and stuff, you know.
I remember at one time they had two different animated cartoons going at the same time,
Yeah.
where it was one was almost like a post-apocalyptic world with Sonic, and he's trying to like he's almost like a Robin Hood kind of thing in the woods, and he goes to like this industrial part, which was run by the villain.
Yeah.
I forget what the
Dr.
villain's name is.
Robotnik,
Yeah,
or they call him Dr. Eggman.
something like that.
Yeah. Same.
But I thought that was cool how they did that. But then the other one was more lighthearted,
Yeah,
and just like for younger
that's
kids.
the one I watched. I didn't even know there was a second one when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until years later. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, November 15th, 2019. Go see it. I'll be seeing it for my 31st birthday. Well, I'll see it a week before
I think Sonic. I'm trying to remember. I was going to it was probably the first video game that had like the 3D effect for me. You know, where you go into that special level.
Oh yeah,
with like you pick up enough rings, all of a sudden you're sucked into like another
That
level where
was-
you have to get as many rings as possible in like a
that
tunnel.
was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I think they did that.
Yeah, it was part 2.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, "Wow, what if the whole game was like this?"
Yeah.
You know, but
Well, they made games like that later on, and it doesn't work. Not really. Okay, I mean, some
I
of the
guess-
Sonic 3D games were okay, but
yeah,
2D was
I
good,
never
but-
I never played them after like Sonic and Knuckles. I never played really too much of it until the only other game that was kind of like that was like 3D was I guess Crash Bandicoot.
yeah.
Yeah, almost the same kind of thing, but it's Crash Bandicoot.
And even a lot of Crash Bandicoot was 2D still.
Mm-hmm.
It was made look kind of 3D, but it was really kind of side-scrolling in some of the levels. Or you're just running towards the camera to get away from the rolling rocks or whatever.
Yeah,
That was always fun.
but there was I guess there was also some news, or it's a possibility. It's not really confirmed about Transformers being rebooted after Bumblebee comes out this December.
I'm
So-
okay with that, I guess. But I mean,
Yeah, and there's also been some speculation that because Hasbro came out and said that they're going to have like a small little film slate where they're going to have G.I. Joe rebooted and coming out. Then they're going to have Micronauts at some point come out in like a year after that. And then they have a movie for 2021 that's going to be with Paramount and Hasbro, but there's no title or nothing, and everyone's speculating that that could be the new movie for Transformers. And if that's the case, that it might be in a universe where G.I. Joe, Micronauts, and Transformers will all exist in the same kind of thing, because that's the thing going right now with MCU, DCEU,
yeah.
all that.
I mean, I guess we'll see if that turns out any good or not. Are they still going to be doing the? I haven't heard anything about the Dark Universe since the Mummy. I think
I
that's pretty much
heard
done.
it was kind of like put on hold.
Yeah.
I don't think they're doing anything with that.
I mean, we'll see where that goes.
I don't know.
We'll see where the DC universe goes next. Obviously, we have Aquaman coming out, but they're going to be reworking some stuff depending on how well Aquaman does, since Justice League underperformed.
Yeah, and you just watched that recently.
I did just watch that. It was, I'll just say it looked like a video game for 2 hours, really.
It's a $300 million video
Video game
game you
cutscene.
watch.
Uh,
Yeah, it's
Yeah, all that. I don't know. I didn't hate
There's-
it as much as some people did, but
no,
Love
I
it.
didn't hate the movie. I thought it had some entertaining parts. There's some I mean, I'm sure some people might agree. There's a couple scenes in there that are just completely awesome, pulled from the comic book, and that's what Zack Snyder did well when it comes to comic book movies. I don't know if he's going to be doing. He's not doing any more DC movies, but
no, he's going to stay on as like executive producer for some of the stuff, but it means
Yeah.
nothing. He's not really going to be involved.
But I'm curious if he'll maybe go back to a graphic novel, because it seems like he likes sticking with comic book material.
Yeah.
You know, with Sucker Punch, and then he had 300 and with the
And
Watchmen.
I like those movies.
And those were good movies. And when they came out with like extended cuts of the Watchmen, I thought that was even better when they did that. Same with Batman vs. Superman. They came out with a extended cut that Snyder wanted, and then it was actually better than what came out in
I
theaters.
never saw either of those extended cuts.
Yeah, I mean, they had like 25, 30 minutes to the story, and those are like plot points that should have been in the movie in the first place, and I haven't the foggiest idea why they were taken out.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I understand why on a business standpoint, because the shorter the movie, the more times it'll play during the day, and the more money that will go into people's pockets. So, understandable.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that Justice League was only 2 hours after Batman Superman was 2 hours and like 40 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, and the Snyder cut was like 3 hours, just over 3 hours long. So
I don't know. I guess we'll see. We'll see what they do next. But we are going to have some more interviews coming up soon. Nothing to quite announce yet, but you'll probably hear an interview in the next week or two. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure to give us a rating on iTunes if you haven't done that already. Subscribe and all that kind of fun stuff. And we'll be back next Wednesday. So anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yep, nothing else. I think we covered it all.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you.
Yeah.